Welcome to Networking Now. I'm your host, Jen Potter, and I'm joined by Hildy Isaacs. She is one of the funniest friends that I know. She is in products and she works on event decorations, taglines, and most importantly, swag. And that is her thing. If you follow her on any of the social medias, she has the best social media when it comes to swag. So, Hildy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
Absolutely. I always enjoy watching all of your social media posts because you make them fun and entertaining and memorable. And I'd like to think part of what you do for a living, and if you want to tell everybody what you do, that's what makes it so memorable. So, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. My name is Hildy. I call myself a recovering New Yorker. I've lived in Atlanta for over 30 years. And I always say it's more important in the South to be polite than honest. And in the North, it's more important to be honest than polite. So I'm a little bit of a blender of that. But I try to always be kind. I love what I do for a living. I've done it for over 20 years. And the fact that I get to blend creativity and sales all at once every day, and every day is a new adventure, is fabulous. I also am 100% commission, and I can work anywhere that I have an internet connection. So I can work anywhere in the world. So it makes it a very good perk.
Which is awesome. So you can go on vacation and you can still make money, right? Which is really cool, for someone who loves to travel and loves to do all the things. And, I've seen all of the things that you do and that you post, and you are a living proof that you can do all kinds of different things and still be able to make a living off of it, which is really, really awesome. And, we started talking about this before the show started. We've known each other for a few years now, and we actually met at a networking event, and a networking group that is online, predominantly online, and that's how we met, even though we're so far away, and we've had the pleasure of meeting in person several times. And through networking, I have found personally that it has been obviously one of the biggest things that has contributed to my personal success. And the reason why I have this show is to talk about, the pros and the cons of networking and the things that work for us. So for your business particularly, what are some things that networking has brought to you in your business and the growth?
I would say going from making nothing to in 2021 and 2022, I sold over $1 million a year, mostly because of networking and referrals. And I always say it's like a reverse pyramid scheme because I'm usually dealing with the tops in a company in marketing and human resources, although now they call it the people pleasing department. Um, they call it the people department, which whatever. But ultimately, when I always do my job right and somebody chooses to leave the company they're at, they always take me with them. And then whoever replaces them also chooses to use me. So I call it a reverse pyramid scheme where my business builds from networking, then referrals, relationships, and great customer service.
I think that's really important, relationships, and we were briefly talking about that and why relationships are so important. So especially in your business and the things that you do, they're supposed to be memorable. They're supposed to be things that, touch that heartstring. So when you talk about the swag that you do, what are some things or some examples of the things that you do that create those relationships?
So I've been always told in my industry that when you first have a meeting with someone, whether it's online or in person, never talk swag and never talk product. Try and find out what are their end goals and what are they trying to accomplish and who's the end user. And that's never worked for me. I just usually you give me a little bit of information, I look at the logo and my gifted imagination just goes so, just an example, last week, one of my clients, the owner of the company, went to her. She's in charge of marketing. And he said, listen, one of our best referral partners is retiring. And he has been a great friend for many years. And he has also been a great referral person. We've made a ton of money off of him. I really want to wow him at his retirement party. So as soon as I heard that, the first thing that went in my mind was Woodford Reserve bourbon, which is a couple of $100 bottle. So I have a vendor who laser etches the bottle. And then for a little bit extra, we'll hand paint it. So
Oh,
Woodford
wow.
Reserve is like a golden color. So we
Mhm.
painted the logo white. So it really popped. They nestle it in a crate with laser etched whiskey bourbon glasses.
Oh,
And then
cool.
the crate itself is also laser etched with the logo in it. And they didn't just buy one, they bought 12. And then
Wow.
I thought we got to get something personalized. So there is a company out there called Pelican. It's similar to Yeti, but they
Yep.
give back to Wounded Warrior, and they are just as gorgeous. They actually, their tumblers, you have the choice. The lid has two openings, one for coffee and one for water. So you don't have to switch. You don't have to have a water bottle and a coffee bottle. So we did that personalized. And then Travis Matthew makes a water resistant duffel. So I said,
Mhm.
let's put all the gifts inside this beautiful duffel, because there were other things she got too. So
Right.
that's just a classic example of, you give me a little bit and I can really go crazy.
I really love that, and I love that, it's not just we're gonna do this one thing. We're gonna do all of these things to make it really memorable and really personable. And like I said, we've met several times in person, and I've seen some of your stuff and the quality of the things that you use and the passion behind what you do. And when I first met you, you never tried to sell me on anything. You literally are so passionate about what you do that I think it sells for itself. And I think that that says a lot about you and your personality. And I think that's why, as a friend and also a referral partner, it's what attracted me to you. It wasn't that you were like, hey, I want to sell you on this. You're like, I do all of these cool things. Look how awesome this is. I mean, I remember the first time we met, it was a silicone like colored cup, and I it just sticks out in my head. So you're like, look at this cup, how awesome is this? And you're drinking out of it. You're like, here, try this cup. And it wasn't that you were trying to sell me on it, you just loved it so much that you're like, here, try this. And I'm like, ooh, I need this. And it's because you truly just believe in all the things that you do. And I think that type of passion inside those networking groups is what kind of sells you, um, unintentionally. I mean, obviously, there's intention to it because the whole point of going to these things is to grow and to sell, but at the same time, just creating these long-standing relationships. Because I'm not in the networking group that we were part of back in the day, and you still may be, and I'm not 100%, but I'm not part of that anymore, but our relationship stands. Just like you said, when somebody in the HR department, they leave, they take you with them, but now somebody new comes and they're like, ooh, here you are. So it's, your what's the word I'm looking for? You, your, wow, the words are not there. Reputation. That's the word I was looking for. Your reputation precedes you. And I think it's really important, to recognize that's the power of networking. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. A classic example was, I'm not a part of that networking anymore, but I will say that 20 20 years ago, I was in this networking group that's still around today here in Atlanta, and I still have clients, and they say to me, that was the best part of the networking, was that we got to meet one another. 20 years later, still doing business, still great relationships. The power of networking, if you do it right, you do it with your authentic self, and
Mm-hmm.
you give more than you take, it does pay off with lifelong memories, lifelong friendships, and lifelong business.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the main thing that I walked away from, networking with, and it's why I continue to do it. It's creating those friendships. My closest friends I met through networking because we had similar goals in the sense of we were looking to create relationships, and whether it's a business relationship or a friendship, and if you're truly being your authentic self, that's when you meet other people and you connect with other people, and you're able to, kind of, create those long lasting relationships. And I recently just gave a talk, and your name came up when I was talking, and we were talking about, when you go to meet new people, like someone who just recently started a business and they're like, I'm going into networking, this is new to me. Like you said, go in with, what are your goals? I don't go in with that. I just want to know more about the person. I want to know about who's in front of me. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about the things that you do. Because when it comes to selling something, people are not buying your product. And I mean, for you, yeah, they are buying your product. But in order for you to sell it, they're buying you. They're buying you and your passion. And that's something that, like I said to you before, that's your passion comes before you. Like, your passion is who you are. It's your personality. Like I said, with your social media stuff, I love watching your reels and TikToks because it's your personality. They're funny, but they're also selling something, and but you're not trying to sell anything when you're doing it. You're just talking about why it's important and why you're doing it and the reason behind it. And I always think that that's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, when I want to talk a little bit more about, when you create those reels and you create those things, what are some of your motivations when you're posting about the things that you're doing?
Great question. I realized 2 years ago that most of the people in the world do not know that my industry exists. People are graduating from college with marketing degrees and never being taught anything about the promotional products industry, which, when you think about it, if a promotional product or merch or swag, whatever you want to call it, if it's done right, it is taking the brand or the event and making it live forever. So once I realized that people have never heard of it, they didn't realize it, I decided to post 1 minute educational videos every single day on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I did it for the entire year of 2023. Even when I was in Italy for a month, I posted once a
Crazy.
day. This year, I've taken it back a little bit. I do it. I do it at least a few times a week, but I'm not holding myself to every single day, which feels just a little bit nicer. And I am still, that's my thing. I wish the world would just understand how sexy my industry is, how fun my industry is, creative. There should be reality TV shows about my industry. I mean, this weekend I volunteered at Pride, and for sure, there should be a reality TV show about event planners, which is
Right.
one whole category. But like, one of my colleagues does Delta Airlines, one of my colleagues does Ocean Spray. And to have a reality TV show from where the marketing department's like, oh, we're about to launch a new Ocean Spray flavor, and how should we do it? And then how does someone like me get involved? And how we create it? Do we do it overseas, or is it something sitting on a shelf here in the US? And how are we decorating it, and where are we sending it to? And it is really fun and really sexy, and I wish more people were in it and did it.
But but that's what makes it, I mean, you educating people on it and showing that side of it, I think that's what also makes it fun and makes it sexy, like you said, right? And I think this generation, the way that they're promoting is so different than how it was 20 years ago. And I think there's nothing more to me, like when you get something, and I don't have anything in front of me right now, but I'm going to use this as an example, right? Like, one of the first things that I got from you was a charging bank. And the charging bank, it has your logo on it, and when you gave it, you said all of the reasons of why you gave it, why it was important, and you made the product sexy. You are the reason why it was so meaningful. And I think creating those things and giving those to other people, like, those are my favorite gifts. I'm not like a tchotchke kind of person, but if there's something that is memorable, like, you don't do just like, here's a keychain. I'm sure people ask for those things, or pens or little things like that, but like, you do bigger items, like you said, the Woodford Reserve with like the special etching. And yes, it's a little bit more money, but at the end of the day, that's something that's probably going to stay on their shelf for the rest of their lives, right? So this is something that you're holding on to forever. And I think that that's really cool, that you're able to create those things and those long lasting memories.
Thank you.
Actually, one of my favorite things that you gave me was the luggage cup holder.
Uh,
I can't even tell you how much that comes in handy. That actually stays in my travel luggage because, like, when I get to the airport, I put my cups in it and I'm like, this is like the best thing ever. It's like a fold and go. But I think of you
Thank
every
you.
single time I travel. And so that right there is like, oh, that's like really good marketing
Thank you.
and very thoughtful. So thank you for that.
You're
So
welcome.
I would love for you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. And, if you want to do your tagline, you're more than welcome to, but tell us all the social media handles, tell us how we can reach you. And if somebody's looking for something thoughtful and awesome, to just get in touch with you.
The easiest way is just to put in Google hashtag Hildy Swag. It's been something I've been tagging all of my posts for years. So as long as you know how to spell the name Hildy, which is Hildee, and then you just add swag. I do own Hildy.com, which makes it easy. And if you go on Hildy.com, on the top right is my picture, phone, and email, and I am on every social media platform. So pretty much if you put in hashtag Hildy Swag when you're in Facebook or YouTube, I'll come up, and I'd love some follows. I would love comments. It seems like people do follow me, but very few people take a minute to be, oh my God, I love that idea. Or you look really cute in that video. Or that was really funny. So I'm always about the comments because I do look, and it does bring up a smile to my face.
Well, then it also creates a dialogue, right? And I think that that's like another form of networking. It creates a dialogue and it goes that one step further. And if there's one bit of advice that I give anybody when it comes to social media is comment on the things that you truly like, create that conversation, especially with someone that you want to make a connection with, because once you start that online dialogue, it could turn into a friendship just like this did. So I thank you so much for coming on. And again, Hildy Swag on all the social media platforms. I can vouch for it. It pops right up. All of her videos, watch them. They're funny. They have some really awesome swag on there. And if you're looking to do something special for someone, definitely reach out to her. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.